3. Welcome to another episode of What Have They Done to Our Sport? My name's Cole Scharf. I'm with JG from Generating Heat because we still can't find Mikey. It's week 3 now?
Yeah, is that where we're at? Week 3, week 4?
Week 3, yeah.
Mikey?
I saw a couple sightings, but I don't know if it's him or not out there. I haven't heard from him, period. I figured, we're getting a lot of feedback. People are concerned. Got to find this man. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know some people were definitely concerned about him over on the Generating Heat podcast Facebook page because he keeps sending these videos in, but we have no idea to know whether they was all cut at one time or what. So
yeah, I had to release the lost episode, is what I'm calling it, because I didn't want to, but the dude hung up on me last time I talked to him. So
I released a lost episode where he hung up on me as well.
So let's
yeah,
just
it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand. We'll get back more into it, but there's not much news out there this week, guys. So it's gonna be a quick little episode. Not really anything worthy to talk about. Vince Russo and Rocky Mountain Pro broke up. I know a little bit about that. That's pretty crazy. Just out of the blue, apparently he was getting disrespected. I figured out who the guy's doing and where I kind of had an idea. One of them's Anaya, and the other one's his brother Hoodie. These two guys that
Is that the guy that I got into it with on Twitter last night?
Yep, that guy who they had a couple RO. It's crazy because they do this Twitch show. I used to subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro's Twitch page. I don't anymore, but they used to do this show like Drunk Wrestling History where they'd get all smashed and go over their old matches and shit, which is kind of cool, But on there, they even said Vince Russo is the reason they had such a good promo at Ring of Honor tryout. So they give him credit there, but then they hate his booking and they disrespect his booking. So he packed his bags and left the company. And he kind of went ham on it on his show on Tuesday and kind of gave a full example.
Yeah. It's kind of been a few weeks in the making,
Yep.
He's not been happy with that whole situation for a while now. And I at first thought it was a work when he announced it this time because I knew the Conspiracy Horsemen were going in.
Yep.
That weekend. So I thought maybe it was going to be a work and then he was going to end up showing up with them in their corner or whatnot. But yeah, that's not how it went. So
yeah, he didn't even go down there when they were in town. Like that's the thing is that dude got him on TV. Okay, he helped get him on TV. He brought him viewers from all over the world. You know what I mean? People I've never.
Speaking of getting.
Hey!
Where you come from?
I've got my sources, gentlemen, and understand that you gentlemen have been riding the fort and keeping the ship astray on this ocean of pro wrestling podcasts. And I do appreciate the fact that you guys have combined the forces of the powers of the Southern Generating Heat, the Midwest versions of What Have They Done to Our Sport. But now Mike Messier's back. I'm back from seclusion. I'm back from the dark side of the moon. And I want to just clear some things with you guys. I know that there's important wrestling matters, as always, to talk about. But we have to talk about some relevant issues, gentlemen. So I want to say good day. I am feeling better. I appreciate your concern. I don't hear any crying children or cats meowing, Cole, so that's a good thing. I do appreciate that. There's no train tracks in my immediate vicinity, so I think we'll be okay for a little while.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut a promo on you though for a minute here, Mike, before you get going.
And why is that?
Well, you just disappeared and you hung up on me. Hang up on me. Then don't say nothing and go radio silent for 3 weeks. I can't deal with that stuff in my life right now, man.
Well, I don't know if you've gotten around to watching Starrcade 85 quite yet, Cole. That was the assignment. Miss Atlanta Lively aside, the professional wrestling displayed at Starrcade 85 in both Atlanta and Greensboro, North Carolina, were far better, superior than the pro wrestling or the sports entertainment showed at Greensboro Raw this past Monday. That's for damn sure. SmackDown, I heard from podcaster Joe Crow, was so atrocious, I didn't even bother to. Well, I think at least as towards this road to SummerSlam, which used to be something the pro wrestling fans could look forward to. Now, what I'm getting from my travels across the country, gentlemen, is a great deal of apathy. People are sick of Roman Reigns, they're sick of Brock Lesnar, they're sick of Vince McMahon, and I don't know if there's anything we've done to save our sport of pro wrestling, other than like the three of us put some differences and coming together to make some changes and some improvements.
Hey, can you do us a favor, kind of take a panoramic view around you to make sure, you're not being held at gunpoint or anything like that, make sure everything's okay?
I'm in a zone. It's a safe place. I'm in a safe place. They've been treating me well. I've gotten 3 meals a day for the most part. I've been treated well, so I can't complain. There's a lot of visitation allowed here. There's a lot of foliage, so I can't say, and I do have this phone for a limited time, so I just want to make the most of this conversation while I have you gentlemen here. Now, as far as things in pro wrestling, I know that JG is a big fan of the MLW wrestling, and I can just comment that I was watching their program, trying to, but when I saw none other than the Dickplex Master Joey Ryan, I got very upset and distraught that they would put money in his pocket, his flying plex, and allow wrestlers to compete with this guy, who obviously has no respect. Professional wrestling. Now, what do you guys have to say about that?
First of all, I think you need to just relax so we don't have another outburst and you disappear. So let's just take it woosah and bring it down a second here. We can talk about the dickplex in a minute, but just breathe, buddy, breathe. It's good to see you. I've missed you.
Well, I appreciate that, Cole, and I do appreciate the fact that you're a family man. You are a proud cat owner, which I can respect. But these are the hot summer months. Tempers are aflare, and there are issues that go beyond myself, go beyond any of us. Unfortunately, I would be a jerk, and I would not be a good person or a good friend if I didn't mention a more serious topic. Not that my own mental health isn't serious, but a good friend of mine, legitimate situation, passed away. Ryan Danovich of Wrestling with Passion podcast, as you guys probably heard by now, he did die, pass away. We still don't know the cause of death.
Didn't you just go see him?
I went to see him a month ago.
Yeah.
I saw him 2 days after his birthday. He just turned 38.
What the?
I was lucky enough to meet the guy in person before he died, and we had a nice meal at Applebee's for his birthday. The waitress was very attractive. Danovich showed me his pro wrestling action figures collection. We couldn't come to a deal because, quite frankly, we both liked the same figures, so we couldn't really negotiate because we were at an impasse. We liked all the same figures that he had. I mean, he had some good ones in there. And it's a real shame, guys. If you guys ever saw Tough Enough 2004, or just look on YouTube, Dano Never Quits, you can see the Brian Danovich story about how he kind of blew out his chest doing a series of bench presses on Tough Enough. They gave him a developmental contract for Ohio Valley, but unfortunately, he was kind of training while still a little bit injured, and he never really got over it, guys. So it's just a shame because he was a good guy.
Yeah, that's crazy that you just went and seen him, and there's no cause of death. No one has any idea. I mean, did he seem sober when you were with him?
Yeah, he seemed sober when I was with him. I mean, it was definitely a thing where, I mean, look, his family and some people put out some stuff kind of speculating, and those statements were kind of rescinded or pulled back a little bit. And it's just one of those things that's kind of touchy because you don't want to say somebody died from such and such a way, but then everybody wants to know. So sometimes what happens is people speculate, and once they put something in writing or put it online, then that kind of becomes cemented as fact, whether it's the real fact or just what people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a shitty thing because in this day and age of social media and everybody's got to know everything about everything, the best thing we can say is all I really know is that he was doing pretty good with his podcast. He had Sean Mooney on. He had Hannibal on. He had Muhammad Hassan on. And he had me on. We had just done a tribute to Nikolai Volkov, Brian Christopher, and Brickhouse Brown 5 days before he died. So it's horrible, man. It's really horrible.
Yeah, that's insane. I couldn't even imagine. And speaking of Brian Christopher, now that you brought that up, it's a perfect segue. It's like you didn't miss a beat, Mike.
That's right. Even in this gentle surroundings, I've still got my wrestle head on.
So there's been speculation, and Jerry Lawler's came out and said that it doesn't look like it was a suicide that killed Brian Christopher. That there was an argument over a card game earlier that night, and the way the suffocation happened around his neck, it wasn't in the front of his neck, it was around the side, so like where someone was fighting off, you know what I mean, getting choked out. So there's more and more to that. He didn't come out and say, you know, he was murdered, but they're saying, like, his lawyer said it doesn't pass the smell test. So I think there's going to be more crazy shit into that.
Yeah, I want to kind of dip in on that real quick because, you know, I feel like I'm an expert on the inside of jail populations. So this either happened one of two ways, and these are the only two ways that it could have happened. Is first off, they had a card game, possibly got in an argument, got in a fight over it, whatnot. You know, got beat up a little bit, probably started bleeding from the head, since it took him a little while to go down or whatnot.
Yep.
Second off, another possibility is somebody wanted to make a name and it banked him from behind. And I was locked up with Michael Vick's little brother Marcus, and the exact same situation happened. Marcus got blindsided by some thug who wanted to make a name for himself by knocking out a celebrity.
Yep.
So one of those two ways could happen. And I can also attest that in a story that was broken on Memphis television, one of their news channels, that 20, and I will say it one more time, 20 security cameras within the facility were not working. And I'm here to tell you right now that if you have even 2 or 3, at the least, not working in a jail, the whole goddamn place is on lockdown. So that right there is all I need to know to tell me. And this is I've been in jails in Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia, Maryland, and DC City Jail. And I'm telling you right now, there is no way that happens in any jail that I've been in. 20 cameras, the whole place, you're locked into your cell until they get that situation fixed.
Yeah, that's what. And when I heard that, I thought the same thing. I'm like, there's no way a jail is gonna have all these cameras, you know, not be accounted for. Especially when apparently the sheriff or somebody in that town told Jerry he'll be safe with us. He needs to be in jail with us. He'll be safe with us. You know.
I sent Jerry an email through his JerryLawler.com website to explain that to him that that's not going to happen. So hopefully he gets to read that email that I sent him. But yeah, just a shitty situation altogether. And to the Mark who went to Brian Lawler's fucking funeral and you goddamn videotaped him in his motherfucking casket, you can go to hell, you stupid motherfucker, whoever the fuck you were.
Yeah, I didn't even know anybody did that. That's disrespectful, man. Let the man go. You know what I mean, Pete? That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Well, guys, do you have any particular favorite Grandmaster Sexay memories from his wrestling career?
Just when him, Rikishi, and Scotty 2 Hotty would come out, I knew I was going to be entertained, man. Like, that was some of my favorite moments from Raws, when they would come out and then they'd throw their shades on and they'd do their little fucking dance, dude. To me, that was awesome TV to watch, in my opinion, so.
I was very upset when Rikishi went into the Hall of Fame and he didn't mention those guys at all.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I was very upset with that.
Since he
Royal Rumble 2000, man, when all three of them ended up in the ring and they ended up dancing right in the middle of the Royal Rumble, that was awesome.
Yeah, and I will say Rikishi's given him some love since he's passed away.
Yeah, I'd like to mention before that, Too Cool tag team, back when Grandmaster Sexay was just Brian Christopher, and he fought Taka Michinoku, and kind of surprisingly put over Taka Michinoku, I believe in December, I want to say December 7th, 1997.
They had a nice little program for that it was a light heavyweight championship. They had a nice little program for that around that time.
Yeah, that was the tournament final. It came down to Taka versus Brian Christopher.
Yeah.
And I think most people assumed Brian was going to win it, and he put over Taka, I think, clean. And it was a real good feud. And I don't think Christopher ever got that championship from Taka. So he really just put the guy over and did the right thing by the business and all that. And so I kind of like that era of Brian Christopher. Also, the stuff he did in USWA as a heel before he even got to WWE, of course, was really good stuff, too. And, you know, right there, Cole?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And so then we had a couple of other... It was a tough couple of weeks, guys. I mean, we had Nikolai Volkov, who, I mean, he was an older guy, but I got to meet Nikolai Volkov in 2013. Didn't really say much to him, but he was a pleasant guy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nikolai Volkov is the first man to ever score a pinfall for any type of championship at WrestleMania, because he was the guy that hit Barry Windham at WrestleMania 1 to win the tag team titles when Sheik and Volkov beat Rotundo and Windham. You can say that Wendy Richter was the first woman to win a championship at WrestleMania, which she also did at WrestleMania 1. But as far as the men's, and I want to say the Volkov-Sheik match happened earlier in the show, but I could be wrong. So, but Nikolai Volkov, he was a guy who was a little bit older already during that initial classic WWF golden era of the mid-'80s. So he wasn't really around for the Attitude Era because he was already kind of way older by then, but he was just a real professional, consummate professional, a big tough guy. He really loved the United States. And one common story going around is that he was even hesitant to play a Russian, nationalist guy and put down America because he loved America so much. But Blassie kind of convinced him that he should parodize these ruthless, aggressive Russians, and that could be a great contribution to the wrestling world and the pop culture world. He was in the video, The Goonies Are Good Enough by Cyndi Lauper, and Nikolai Volkov was one of the first action figures by LJN. I mean, I think the second run of figures, you have that classic Nikolai Volkov, and if you have one of those, hold on to it, especially if you have that little hat that came with it.
I do, and it's the one where I actually have the one where you put your thumb in the back of it.
Oh, the thumb wrestler.
Yeah.
That's Mikey's favorite spot that's ever happened in wrestling, putting the thumb in there. You know what I mean? Mikey loves that. Sorry, my bad. Didn't mean to bring that up. That's a touchy subject. My fault. Sorry.
I mean, it's one of those things, guys, where we do joke around, but I guess it's just a trigger point for me where we're looking at some of these guys, like a Tommaso Ciampa, like a Jushin Liger, and I was thinking about a proper punishment, and not to say that I'm condoning this, guys, but if this were the ancient samurais as just punishment for a situation like the Titan 10, you'd have 9 thumbs separated from their original owners, kind of spread across the land, across the 9 continents, and you'd have 9 anuses spread across the land. And I say 9 instead of 10 because if you do the math, there was a guy on each end of that train that didn't have their proper body part involved. So, just a horrible thing that those guys, and I guess the term came to mind, guys, thinking about the Titan 10 and the Joey Ryans and the plastic doll wrestlers, cannibalism. I really feel like it's cannibalism that these guys, and maybe you can go back to the Clique in Madison Square Garden in 1996, but I just feel like pro wrestling right now is suffering through cannibals. They're eating and digesting their own company, not their company, but the profession of pro wrestling, and it's up to fans like ourselves who maybe have one foot in the business and one body out of it or whatever, but to kind of speak up and say something. If these wrestlers have lost their way, if they've lost their integrity, it's up to us fans to do something about it.
No, for sure. And I was just giving you shit. I just knew I'd get you a little riled up. But I don't want to do that because I don't want you disappearing on me for 3 more weeks. I don't think Jay wants that either. So my bad. I was just joking.
It's okay. I don't know if you can see me real quick there, guys, but I got this book that I've picked up because I'm studying the professional wrestling the way it should be. Whatever happened to Gorgeous George. This is a classic book, and it's that's Ivan Koloff right there. And this is just a book about way wrestling should be. All young wrestlers should be forced to read this book, and that way you wouldn't have such atrocities as we're currently having.
Yes, sir, and I'll get the title of that for sure. What's it called? One more time.
Whatever Happened to Gorgeous George.
Okay, sweet. Looks like a big read too.
Kind of about the way wrestling. This book was from 1972, I think.
Did you guys see the thumb in the ass type moment at the G1 this past week?
No, I don't watch the G1.
No.
Yeah, I saw it on. Somebody made a gif of it. As the entire Bullet Club flopping around the ring like they're birds, like the Marty Skrull gimmick.
Sounds like great. See, Jay, you're gonna put Mike into another fucking attack, bro.
They were flapping around the ring like birds. The entire
That's
Bullet
horrible.
Club.
Were they opponents with each other, or were they just dancing around like teammates or something?
They were just dancing around like teammates. It was the elite side, not the OG side.
I'll be honest, guys. I tried to, at one of our earliest shows, me and Cole did a show where we dissected an Austin Aries versus Marty Skrull match. And I don't really see the appeal of Marty Skrull, except maybe his nickname. The villain is a decent nickname, but I didn't really see the appeal to the guy. I mean, he's 190 pounds soaking wet. Probably the best thing about him is this thing where he breaks people's fingers. But there was a lot of stuff he was doing, just playing to the crowd, kind of spinning and clenching his fingers after every big move. Is there something about Bullet Club that I'm missing out on? Is it just their social media presence or their YouTube videos that are so prolific and profound and entertaining to others, but not to me, that I'm missing out on?
I'm not a fan. I'm not.
The Bullet Club. Sorry, go ahead, Cole. I didn't know you.
They don't do nothing for me. I'm not a fan. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I was a fan when AJ Styles, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, all those guys were over in New Japan. I was a fan then. This bullshit that they're pulling right now is just, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. Tama Tonga has turned into a great heel out of this.
Oh, I will say that. His shit on social media is fucking flawless, and I want to watch that dude. I want to watch that dude. The shit he's doing on social media is making me want to watch that dude and follow him around.
Yeah. It's unbelievable how he's transformed and became this great heel out of all that.
Okay, one thing I want to get to real quick, we're bouncing all over because that's how we do. It's because Mikey have fucking appeared on us out of nowhere. Me and Jay had our shit scheduled like we always do what we're going to do, and then Mike just comes and goes when he pleases. Anyways, I got one thing I want to talk about. Dave Meltzer apparently went off on, what's her name, Jay?
It's Peyton Royce.
All right, listen.
I'm about. Piece of that clip. Let's hear that because I haven't heard the clip yet.
All right, I can only play 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Can I play 30 seconds, pause it, and play 30 more seconds?
Yes, you can.
All right, ready? Here we go.
We got to break and talk about it for like 15 to 30 seconds, and then you can play it again.
All right, here's the first half. Let me know if you can hear this.
The Iconics got boringed out.
Can you hear?
They're another one. I thought like that they had like a cool act in NXT, and on the main roster, I don't get a thing out of them. I mean, I don't think their promos are particularly good. Their wrestling isn't good. I think Peyton Royce's transformation to look more attractive. I don't know. I don't want to say, but I don't think that.
She was more attractive in NXT.
All right, that's 30 seconds. We're about to get to the juicy shit here. Right. Go ahead, though.
All right. First off, they never were good wrestlers, and that wasn't their thing. They are antagonistic heels. they play off that Houser shit, that Australian kind of the trailer park boys type shit. That's what they're doing, man, and it works. It gets the crowd it gets them heat.
Yep.
What is this guy's problem? Everybody has to have a 5-star match.
Just wait till you hear the following part of it. But yeah, I don't get Dave Meltzer, and for him to call anybody out after you hear what he says in this next part of this clip, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? So we'll go ahead and I'll play the second part of this clip. It's only 24 seconds, so here we go. Could you guys hear that fine the first time?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
All right.
I thought so. Yes, to me, yes, I would say so. But that's neither here nor there. But
No one's saying she's unattractive, by the way, everybody.
I know, no shit. Yeah, I didn't say it at all. But I don't think, she doesn't stand out to me. When she was in NXT, she did.
Well, one thing I've noticed about NXT, the main roster, is...
She was a lot lighter.
The NXT characters...
She was a lot lighter.
A lot lighter. The only thing that is different with her between NXT and now is that she got the boob job.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Well, who the fuck is Dave Meltzer to talk about a woman that looks great, you know what I mean, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, and say she needs to be lighter. So here's her response to Dave. This is all she said, and then I'll let you go to town because I know you want to get at it. So what would you have me do, Dave? Starve myself? This is how nightmares for young women start. The females in your life must be proud.
Man, look, I'm telling you, she hits the nail right on the head right there, man. Because there is nothing wrong with that girl. There is nothing wrong with her character. There is nothing wrong with her looks at all.
Nope.
She cut her hair short. I don't personally care for the short hair, but who cares?
Yeah. You don't need to...
She still looks great. And the fact that Dave Meltzer can sit here and fucking talk about Johnny Gargano's abs and Finn Balor's ass and all this other shit and talk about wanting to touch everything and stuff like that. So how is he going to sit there and he's going to be a person who is being like that towards women? It absolutely kills me.
Yeah, I don't understand who he thinks he is to make that opinion. That's not even journalism, bro. That's just you talking shit about something. They were so entertaining in NXT, now they suck. You say that about everybody. What does that tell you? That WWE creative is not where it's supposed to be, but then you got to go and personally attack and say she needs to be lighter? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, he'll put over a dude's hair. He'll put over Tanahashi's hair in a heartbeat. But he's going to sit there and say that Peyton Royce needs to lose some weight. Fuck you, Dave Meltzer, you piece of shit.
What you got on that, Mikey?
Just to clarify, I think it was actually Brian Alvarez who was kind of fawning over Johnny Gargano's abs, not Meltzer. I don't think I heard the quotes as good as maybe I could have, but the only thing I'd say, in just playing devil's advocate, just because I don't know if Meltzer's responded to her response, just to play devil's advocate, if he said lighter, was he in fact referring to maybe the 5 or 10 pounds of extra upper torso tissue? I mean, that's all I can think of, if that's what he was saying.
Yeah, then he would have... Then he would have said that, you know what I mean? Then he would have said, she shouldn't have got her boobs done, type of thing.
Well, what I'm saying is, I guess I'd like to see if Meltzer can weasel his way out of this one or defend himself, because if he was trying to say, or if what he meant was, in fact, she's 5 or 10 pounds heavier because of the boob job, and that's affected her performance, that's very specific. I can't speak to that one way or another, except I was not really a huge NXT fan when they were coming up, but I would say that when they came on SmackDown and when they did the whole thing with Carmella and getting her the belt, I thought it was great. I mean, I think they're phenomenal on Raw, on SmackDown. I'm sorry. I don't know if they've kind of autopiloted or just kind of been mid-card maniacs, but I did think that they had a strong debut beating up Charlotte. And I don't know what's really happened to him since, but I don't know.
What's happened to him is WWE creative. But here, I'm going to read a couple of replies because a lot of people have put their opinion on this. Charlotte Flair says, "You are smart, beautiful, funny, caring, and talented, and so much more. I love you, woman. Stay strong." Jeff Lane commented, I don't know why she would give him any credibility by tweeting his podcast. What he says is absolutely meaningless. He never has been in the wrestling business and never will.
Well, I guess I'd say
JG, Generating Heat, says, fuck Dave Meltzer. You were smoking hot.
Smoking hot.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm scrolling through here, too. I just don't get this guy, man. And there's a lot of people saying in here, oh, the problem is she doesn't have Gargano's abs. The problem is she doesn't have abs. She doesn't have good hair, blah, blah, blah. So I'm starting to lean towards that side, like, maybe this dude likes dudes. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not being a homophobe. I'm not being a hater.
Hey, just come out and say it. It's 2018.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. It's just opinion of mine. I'm not bashing gay people. I know gay people. I have friends that are gay people. Family that are gay people. Gay people are awesome. Nothing like that. But I think Dave Meltzer is a gay person. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, you're on the record.
In about 2 hours, Cole is homophobe will be trending.
Yeah, we'll have a defamation society. Don't call Dave Meltzer homosexual.com at our doorsteps. But, gentlemen, I have to say that in all my social media ramblings, I got into a little thing today. I always get into these Twitter things with people, and somebody had posted a clip from SmackDown, the SmackDown that I did not watch because Joe Cronin buried it so deep I couldn't even bear to watch it. But basically, Charlotte says to Carmella, you're a diva in a woman's era. And I made a comment on Twitter that I basically said, so says the former champ with the fake boobs, because I was kind of saying, in my defense, I'm defending Carmella, because I like Carmella. I'm a Carmella fan, and I just find it hypocritical for Charlotte to use diva as an insult, when in fact there was a Divas Championship. Charlotte herself was the last Divas Champion going into April of WrestleMania 2016, which is less than 3 years ago, guys. So my point is, I think with the Women's Revolution, sometimes they try to bury the Divas era, if you want to call it that, whatever the unofficial Divas era is, which was the better part of 20 years. And I just find it a little insulting that they still have a show called Total Divas, and yet here is Charlotte trying to use diva as an insult to Carmella. I mean, those women, the Sables, the Sunnies, the Jacquelines, the Trish Stratus, the Litas, they all fought very hard for their spin on the word diva to mean something, and now either Charlotte or whatever scriptwriter, who probably isn't even a wrestling fan, wrote her little promo for her, and she dictated it. Now she wants to use diva as an insult, when in fact, my point is she did a very diva-esque thing by getting her boobs done a couple of times herself. And look, these are matters with women's anatomy of which we're not really qualified to speak on, but I just found it to be hypocritical to use diva as an insult like that. I didn't like that myself.
And you hit on a good point right when you said that the writer's probably not even a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Because he probably doesn't even know what the Divas from back in the day did, so he doesn't know the disrespect that word saying it like that in that context brings. So, I mean, like I said, you hit that right on the head. He's probably not even a wrestling fan.
You see, I'm on the flip side of that. I think it was a great way to promote Carmella, because she's not the in-ring technician that Charlotte and Becky and Sasha and Bayley are. She's something totally different. She's what the fans want to see.
Yep.
She can put butts in seats with the way that she plays her stuff right now as a diva.
Yep.
And also, I think that it underhandedly is telling us that, hey, after SummerSlam, we're going to have some of the former divas start trickling in here because we're getting ready to promote this all-women show.
Yep, for sure.
That's a good point, too.
And it could be like an invasion angle type thing, like the old school divas are coming back to fuck with the women's evolution type of thing. I mean, they're probably not smart enough to figure that out, but that's
you see Hogan, putting out little feelers about the NWO. Maybe they're going to do my thing, and bring in a women's world order.
That'd be sweet. But I mean, there's nothing really else going on in the wrestling world, so I don't want to send Mikey over the edge on his first episode back. We've gotten a good 34 minutes from him. I don't want him to disappear for 3 weeks. So
yeah. Well, I can tell you this, guys, that this is, unless the product gets a lot better, this is my final, full-on wrestling podcast that I will be doing. Generating, he's still going to be around, but we're transitioning to football. I'm going to bring Mikey in to talk wrestling whenever something interesting happens.
Well, I hope you have me on there for some fantasy football. I got a big draft.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that Patreon, man. I built it up, and I just don't know whether to go with it or not. I think maybe this first season I might do it, but do it on YouTube or something.
I got a big draft coming up, a big 12-man league draft coming up this weekend. I'm going to Denver this weekend for.
Nice.
You should definitely be by your phone so I can get some pointers on who I need to draft and who I don't need to draft.
Yeah.
I just want to say, guys, we don't want to forget about Brickhouse Brown
either,
because we
Go
mentioned my friend Danovich, Nikolai, Ron Pierce. For Brickhouse Brown was more of a Memphis CWA and a world-class championship wrestler. Towards the end of the world-class days, he had a really cool tag team with Iceman King Parsons, believe it or not, called the Blackbirds, because they were kind of making fun of the Fabulous Freebirds, and they were African-American. Brickhouse Brown was just a guy who, honestly, he probably would have done better today with his physique, because, he had a real good 220-pound, 215-pound, shredded physique, but was a little on the smaller side for his era of the 80s. Probably would have done better today, but he was a great talent, and he have a match. I did. If anyone can find this match, please send it to us. It's Brickhouse Brown and Iceman Parsons versus Jimmy Jack Funk and Chris Adams in a bull rope chain match. And
I watched that not long ago. I watched that not long ago. It's in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the network. It's on the network.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I have to resubscribe to the network. I canceled for the third time.
Yeah, it's on the world class thing. But
all right, give me one second.
You gotta think about all these wrestlers that wouldn't have careers, wouldn't have Shawn Michaels, Booker T, the Freebirds, the Von Erichs. He helped make all of them.
You're
Going
right.
to Memphis, he did a lot of stuff with Jerry. He did a lot of stuff with Jeff Jarrett, getting him over. He did a lot of stuff, with Bill Dundee. He helped get a lot of people over. He was a very solid worker.
He was, and JG, I believe a favorite of yours passed away too. How could we forget? I don't think we mentioned one of your favorite wrestlers passed away just a couple of nights ago.
Yeah, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, man. What can you say? One half of possibly the greatest tag team of all time, especially in the WWF, the Hart Foundation. There's not a lot of details coming out about his death. I hope he didn't get back on the blow.
I heard that he had some convulsions and he died. I thought his daughter Natalia was with him when he died.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really.
I heard.
Really heard it.
Here's what I heard was his wife. He was living at his daughter's house, or a house his daughter owned. His wife heard him up walking around late at night. He couldn't sleep. He went to turn the thermostat down. He went into a convulsion, hit his head, and a big old gash on his forehead, and that's how he died. The report also said that the drugs that were in the house did not look like they were abused. So.
Well, that's good. That's good. Nice.
Okay, so guys, I will correct myself. I did what I said other people shouldn't do. I put 2 and 2 together and got 5. I thought because it was Natalia's house, she was there, but I guess she wasn't.
No, and she could have been there. I don't know if she wasn't there. I just know that his wife was there, and that's who's the one who called the cops, and where she saw what happened, and et cetera, et cetera. And I feel bad for Natty because Natty's one of those girls that's never been in trouble, always keeps her nose clean, respects the business, shit like that. And so I know she's going through a lot. She was close to her dad. She just went to a Smashing Pumpkins concert with him. So
let's just hope that the Total Divas cameras weren't there at the time.
Yeah.
Because you know that they'll exploit the hell out of that shit.
Oh yeah. His last moments alive. Let's get a couple dollars out of this shit. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and
meet Jim Neidhart a few times, guys. He was a real nice guy. Just had a few words with him, but he was always, as Stu Hart called him, the Rhino of the Hart Foundation. Just a big, strong, tough dude.
Yeah, everything I've heard is he's a nice guy. But all right, guys, go ahead, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug my sponsor real quick, and then we'll let you guys plug your shit, and we'll get out of here. Okay? This episode of What Have They Done to Our Sports Meets Generating Heat. Mike Messier's return out of the blue is brought to you by O'Hara's Exteriors, LLC. You can get a hold of them at 402-213-3289. Again, that's 402-213-3289. You can take care of anything you need. Thank you. But yeah, go ahead, plug your guys' shit real quick, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm off of Facebook permanently. Cut a promo on my Facebook friends, and it was a shoot. Just got tired of it. Just, you guys see what goes on my page. A lot of it's, I tend to stir the pot a little bit, and I stirred myself into a frenzy this time and got banned on my regular page for a non-nudity, anything post. So I just kind of went off. But the Generating Heat page is still open. You guys can roll with it however you need to. I'm on Twitter at JG Has Heat, and I'm on Reddit. If you guys want to check me out on Reddit, I'm building that community right now. So JG Has Heat on Reddit also.
Okay, Mikey?
Okay, well, for me, for Mike Messier, just MikeMessier.com as always. On YouTube, it's Mike Messier. Now you can find Mikey Messier, Angry Wrestling Fan, because I'm dedicating my Twitter account of Mikey Messier, Angry Wrestling Fan, to Generating Heat, to What Have They Done to Our Sport, and to all the interactions with wrestling fans. So if people are wrestling fans, look for me there. If you're a filmmaker, you can go to distancefromavalon.com or just do a Google search for Mike Messier. I'm easy to find and hard to forget. And thanks to everyone for their patience on my the staff, and everyone's been very polite to me. And I just want to thank everyone for their support.
Yep. So what are we going to have regular appearances from Mike Messier on What Have They Done to Our Sport going forward, or is it going to be hit and miss?
I'll be back next week, Cole, and I just want to express, buddy, I really want you to watch that Starrcade. I think just do it for yourself, because don't worry about the podcast. For your own enjoyment, I think you and all the fans really need to sit there with a bowl of popcorn, your favorite beverage, and watch Starrcade 85, and then we'll talk about it and compare and contrast that show to some of the stuff going on today.
All right, sounds good. Again, everybody, thank you for listening. Subscribe, support, rate, get it out there. We thank you. You can find me on Twitter at Cole Sharf. It's My Time Now 18 on Facebook at Cole Sharf. Apple Music on Cole Sharf. I know, super creative. SoundCloud on Cole Sharf. Spotify Cole Sharf. Everything Cole Sharf. COLESCHARFF. Thank you, guys. We're growing. We're back at it. I'm glad Mikey's back. I'm glad he's okay. I was worried about to send out the FBI, shit like that. So, appreciate it. Thanks, JG. Can't wait to get the fantasy podcast going. Thanks for filling in and trying to help me find Mikey. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, the fantasy shit's going to be good. Real quick, one last thing. I know we tried to close this podcast out 5 times, but what about the Jets, Redskins fighting at camp, man? I love it.
Yeah. I wish I was there. It was either raining or 110 degrees the whole time they were here. So, yeah, that wasn't happening for a fat ass like me.
But I think we found our franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold. I don't know if anybody saw what Josh Norman said about just Sam Darnold, but everybody check it out, because Norman's not one to just throw compliments around out there. So what he said has me feeling really good about our quarterback. Redskins, Jets, Thursday Night Football on ESPN tomorrow night. So just the preseason, but football's back. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. We'll see you next week. I really hope you enjoyed that last episode like I did. Always good content here at Jets Fan Club Twitch page. Get the word out there. Tell people about it. Share, like. I'm going to have more platforms. I'll keep people updated on that. Look out for the next episode presented to you by Jets Fan Club Twitch page. Thank you again. I hope you enjoyed.